So, my mind continues to create solutions to our vast domestic policy problem of our swamp. So we have this new reality, our COVID reality, and we have this badass fucking machine at the NSA that's watching everything. I say we make our government employees accountable. I mean, it's always been my belief across all of the systems, whether it comes to Social Security, Medicare, housing, I mean, any of the things where an American needs to interact, all that can be done on the phone. All of that can be done through a video conference. All that can be done from remote locations. We don't need any of these office buildings anymore. There's certain constraints that we have because of bullshit. We need modernization and digitization. That needs to be one of our first major action. Maybe that's where we can get our workers involved. A lot of the people who've been disenfranchised are professionals. Proper rehabilitation, we can put them back to work. Give them a chance to do something of value. We remove the people from the process as much as possible, because the people in the process are the ones who are controlling the shaping of your society. That's what's happening. That's where your enemy is at. Your enemy is literally your own government employees. They want to use that government for an agenda. And the idea is to change that. I mean, I've had a lot of ideas in the past about how to change the VA. I mean, it's like why I said I want to get some systems design people together and sit down. Because if we can all use our phones, and we can all talk to people who are working for our government on video conferencing, and that video conferencing is monitored by our NSA to ensure compliance with our federal doctrines. We make sure there's no abuse of our citizens. We literally use that police force to watch our own government. That's a smart fucking idea. That's a smart idea. That's a good use of resources. Especially considering we now know. I mean, I'm talking about something big and revolutionary here. Something that's going to change everything and quickly. So we're going to need solutions between economists. We're going to need some pretty big time solutions here to make this work. But I'm telling you, it's a winning path. If you look at it as like a long-term business plan idea, if you look at it in a long-term perspective, it's 2 years, and then there's another 12 years of leadership. That's 14 years. That gives us 14 years starting right now to rewrite the rule book, to cut these people out of the loop, to disempower your enemy, and to find a way to move forward as a free people with less government, man. I mean, this is actually less government. Simplify things, man. The simple reality is everybody needs the health care. We all do. The simple reality is innovation in healthcare and capitalism is what makes that healthcare so badass. So we got to have both. The people who can, then do. The people who can't, we need to support them and find a way to do that unilaterally across the line in a way that doesn't fuck us as people. We don't have to get fucked. We can make these systems simple. We can simply have them send their bills to the federal government. We pay those bills until we transition our system and spend the next 10 years doing that. That's a realistic solution to a really large-term economic problem. That's something that's possible. Same thing with green energy, but you know what? This bullshit, we're getting that Keystone Pipeline back up. You can't starve your people to feed others. You got to find a way to make more food. Talking about constructive solution rather than destructive solution. There's a way to do all of these things. There's actual real solutions available to us as a people. So I find myself in a place thinking through all of the social engineering ideas, thinking through how we can best reform our government to keep it COVID safe, to keep it out of the workplace, and keep it in the home of the citizen, but monitored by the NSA to ensure compliance. Watching our government, protecting us from ourselves. That to me is like a really smart idea of how to approach a peace with all of this. And then we start getting larger volume of help to people, man. This is really a slap in the face to the conservative community to wake you up that you're just going to have to realize for maybe the next 20 years, you're going to have to pay 15% more in taxes. And that's just a reality. We can talk to the billionaires and get the billionaires involved in here, but this is a large social scale plan. And it needs to happen to ensure the safety and prosperity of the American people. Otherwise, we sink into the depths of narcissism and psychopathy and become overrun by hate. And I don't really believe that's a real sound solution for anyone. And I'm in a place now where I'm just looking at what's going to work. What can actually work given this point in time. So thinking ahead with some foresight about the systems redesigned. There's a lot to it all. There's a lot of different systems and each one of them works differently. That's true. But the simple fact is that we can use our phones. We can cut the people out of the loop. And we can hold the people who are our employees accountable. That's a more powerful government. And something that's more responsive too. Something that has immediate responsiveness. Because it can all be controlled by a centralized database. We have the ability to provide this kind of infrastructure and put together a whole team of IT people. Now, that's another thing. We can attack conservatively with our money. I don't know why anybody out there still has Apple stock. If you got Apple stock, buy it. Fucking sell it. And buy something different, man. That was a shithead move towards your entire movement that threatened your wealth. Why would you continue to do business with them? Same thing with Google. Same thing with Amazon. Why are any of you carrying stocks in companies that are deliberately trying to hurt you and your people? That's a really valid question. So, we have a good battle plan for now. And there's good prospects for the future and healing. It's just going to come with having to choke down the fact that the people around you, you're just going to have to pay for the people around you to either get well or you're going to face chaos and warfare. It's just one of those things where you have to make a rational decision. And it makes sense and it's productive. And it's an investment in our future. And you'll pay it on to your children. And those children. And the children after that. And the children after that. It's worth it, man. This is worth it. This idea, idea of what America is, this social experiment of democracy, which is at play in a fair election. We make our elections fair too. There's a lot of things to do, and it's going to take moving at light speed force to get it done. And I can understand how the people around me want to know. Well, how can you trust me? I could say, well, I can offer you an oath of loyalty, but what really good is that? And don't people betray those things all the time? I say, why don't you just look at who I am as a person and what I represent and what I've been doing? And if we have common interests, we're probably going to do really well together. You know? I guess that's how I see that. I'm ready to get down. Because I'm not down with the sickness. Are you down with the sick? I'm not down. Get down with the sickness.